Yes, hello and welcome to another video. And today I'm going to be talking about something that, well, is this controversial? Is this not controversial? I don't know. But I know that there's a certain genre when it comes to movies that's the so bad it's good genre of guilty pleasures, whatever you want to call it. Movies that are objectively really bad that you like. And it can be a thing of some people absolutely can't stand that movie because it's bad. Other people find it fun because it's bad. Other people just find them interesting. Whatever it might be. And I have a list of top 5 horror movies that are guilty pleasures of mine, movies that I really like despite their objectively not so good quality. And I will say before I kick this list off, if you're interested in movies that I think are funny because of how bad they are, that is starting at number 3. Okay, so if you want to see movies that are objectively terrible that I just like to laugh at, start at number 3. But we're going to start off with number 5 here. And this is a movie that, if you would have asked me a while ago, like, I don't know, even just a few months ago, would I have this movie in my collection? I would say absolutely not. That movie's terrible. But then I came around to it, made a video about it, now I have 2 copies of it, and that is Halloween Resurrection. So, yeah. What is there to say that hasn't already been said about this movie? It does so much stuff wrong with the franchise and the characters and all of that. But I mean, if you want my full thoughts on this movie, I did a video about it, and that seemed to be getting some traction. So, yeah, essentially, the long and short of it is that I find it interesting that this movie came out the way it did. And I'm also not ultimately surprised that the movie came out the way that it did. Is it a terrible product? Objectively, yeah. Does it mess up a lot of rules and not take itself very seriously? Yeah, that's the case. Is this a really bad way to send off the character of Laurie Strode? Absolutely. But it's just interesting to me. Like, I can put this movie in and I really don't know what I think about it. When I watch it, when I think about it, I'm like, do I like this movie or not? I really don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting case study at the very least. I didn't take a film class in college, but if I were in college right now and I were in film class, I would write a paper on this movie, and I think it would be kind of interesting. But regardless, Halloween Resurrection is my number 5 pick. Like I said, if you want my full thoughts on this movie, check out my video on it. But regardless, that is my number 5 pick. Then coming in at number 4, a movie that's almost bad on purpose, and that is Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Now I know that there are some Nightmare on Elm Street fans that just trash this movie from one end to the other. They say this is the worst movie ever made. It's just this total ruin of the character of Freddy Krueger and the lore and all of that. And to that I say, you're not entirely wrong. However, this movie was kind of made a certain way. From what I understand, you had people that were making this movie that were like, we've already done the horror element. We've like sprinkled a little bit of comedy leading up to the 6th movie. Why don't we just go full blown comedy? And they were like, sure, let's go for it. And so you get this really Looney Tunes style of Nightmare on Elm Street, which to some people I totally get. If you're like, that is not for me whatsoever. For me, I find it fun. What can I say? There are some scenes in this movie that I think are absolutely hilarious, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. But yeah, like I said, I totally get if this movie is not for you, if you just disown it, pretend it doesn't exist. That's totally fine. I will not disagree with you. It's a similar thing with Halloween Resurrection, whereas with Halloween Resurrection, it's the thing I find it interesting that it came out the way it did. With Freddy's Dead, it's a movie that it was made it was made how they wanted to make it, and I find it fun. So there we go. That is my number 4 pick. So now coming into the top 3, and these are movies that I like to watch, even though they're just absolutely terrible and they're funny, like unintentionally and all of that. So let's kick this off. If you are in the mood for so bad it's good, boy do I got options. Coming in at number 3, Jaws: The Revenge. Now, for a little bit of story, I've only ever seen two of the Jaws movies. I've seen the original, and I've seen this one. And the only reason why I checked out this one was because I heard that when you watch it, you either fall into one of two camps. You either think that the movie is absolutely atrocious, or you find yourself laughing from one end of the runtime to the other. And I found myself really getting into this. So for a basic premise, if you're unfamiliar with this, essentially take a slasher movie but make the slasher a shark, and that's about what you get here. And to make things even more interesting, you have a family that moves to a part of the world where the water is warmer than it is in like the Pacific Ocean and all of that. And the shark follows them there, despite the movie making it clear of sharks don't come over here. So you just have this like Michael Myers version of a shark that's like chasing after this family from the first movie. And so it's really weird, really out there. But if that doesn't sell you on it, this movie has Michael Caine in it. Michael Caine, okay? He is a phenomenal actor. He's done a ton of stuff. He's in this movie as a pilot. And what he's doing in this movie, I'm not entirely sure, but I just find it hilarious that you have this really well-respected, accomplished actor that's in essentially a shark version of Halloween. I don't get it at all, but I find it fun. There are some scenes that I think are funny, some scenes that I think are intentionally funny, some scenes I think are unintentionally funny. So, if that sounds at all interesting to you of a shark version of a slasher movie, check this out. If you hear that and you say, absolutely not, I don't want anything to do with that, that's fair. This is my list, and I think Jaws the Revenge is funny for what it is. So, there you go. Coming in at number 3 is Jaws the Revenge. Then, coming in at number 2. Yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Or, what's the other name of the movie? Like, The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that? I know it is Next Generation. And, this movie, I have not heard anyone say anything good about it. The closest thing that I've heard to some people complimenting this movie is that you get Matthew McConaughey in this movie, and he goes full-blown Matthew McConaughey. He is just over the top. Like, Nicolas Cage and all of his over-the-top performances, none of those hold a candle to what Matthew McConaughey does in this movie. So, yeah. I mean, if you are a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, you'll probably watch this movie and you'll be like, this is just everything wrong with the franchise and adding a whole bunch of stuff that makes it worse. And you're not wrong. I mean, the Sawyer family suddenly having a different name and being controlled by a secret branch of the government that was never brought up. And even in this movie, it's brought up, like, out of nowhere, like, more than halfway through the movie. Where that came from, I have no idea. Leatherface essentially being treated as a joke by everyone. I don't know where that came from, but that's the case in here. And you get some really spotty acting, some some not so good sets, and well, the sets aren't too bad, but like it just seems kind of boring and flat and all of that. And when the acting itself isn't that good and the story is really messed up, and not in a disturbing way, just in a thing of why are they doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Why is this family of cannibals being controlled by the government? And yes, they do try to explain it, but the explanation they give doesn't make much sense. Yeah, and like I said, you get Matthew McConaughey going full blown psycho mode in this, which is kind of fun. Then you get Renee Zellweger, which I actually do like her performance in this movie. I think she was kind of cool as a final girl. She's like the shy and timid girl who rises to the occasion. Actually, talks down to Leatherface, and somehow that works. Yeah, so like I said, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: Next Generation. I completely get it if you say nope, not for me at all. For me, I find it fun. Okay, so there we go. So now coming in at number 1. And out of all of these previous movies that I've talked about, I can give some merit to them. Okay, I can say of objectively, it does this. Objectively, there's that. Subjectively, I don't hate it as much as other people. Like, I understand things like that. My number 1, And for me, this is like the dictionary definition of so bad it's good, guilty pleasure, whatever you want to call it. This is the only movie, I think, in the history of cinema to where you can trash this movie from one end to the other and just say everything about it sucks, and I will completely agree with you and still enjoy the movie. What movie am I talking about? Well, ladies, gentlemen, Cenobites, I have such sights to show you. And the name of this site is Hellraiser Revelations. Yes, I know. I pull this up and immediately you're like, nope, but hear me out on this. Hear me out on this. I am not a Dimension defender, okay? Dimension had some really messed up stuff. The Weinsteins being in charge of the company certainly didn't help things. And this movie was made for all the wrong reasons, okay? Like, they literally made this movie so that Dimension could retain the rights to the Hellraiser IP. Do I think that's cool? Not really. However, this movie shows what happens when you have, 10 days to make a movie. And, it seems like they only have, $20 to make all of the special effects and all that. The budget is so low, and you can tell that they were just shooting scenes. They shot a scene once, and they're like, okay, that's good, let's move on. And all of that. And, the sets are terrible. You get a house that looks decent, but, everything else is just, what is that? You get some horrible acting. You get really bad special effects. And this guy. You get this guy here. Now, if you have seen my review of this figure, you would know that I don't like calling this character Pinhead because, I don't know, to me Pinhead kind of seems like, it seems more of an insult than anything else. Of this guy, I'd be less intimidated by him if he introduced himself as I am Pinhead. Okay, it's a personal thing, I know. I don't gel with this guy's name being Pinhead. But there is an exception to that. In this movie, the performance, the makeup, and the voice, it warrants this guy being called Pinhead. I cannot take this guy seriously at all for a second that he's on the screen, and he's not even the worst part of it. There are just so many scenes where it's like, what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. The acting is horrible. And like I said, the movie was made in 10 days or something like that. And I don't know how much the actual budget was, but it was something like $200,000, I think. I don't know. But yeah, this movie, like I said, if you hate this movie, you think it's one of the worst movies ever made, I will agree with you. I still think it's fun, though. Not because of, oh, I'm so glad they made this, but as a case study of, this is what happens when you try to make something just to make it. It does not look good. And you get stuff like this. What is that? I don't know what that is. It's a bad movie is what it is. And did I pay way too much for this on eBay? Yes, I did. I don't want to talk about that. But regardless, I have it in my collection. This is, for me, the definition of a so bad it's good movie. And I find it absolutely hilarious. So there we go. Hellraiser Revelations is my number one on that list. And with that, I have concluded. However, that was just my list. What is your list? What are some movies that objectively you can acknowledge of, oh yeah, these movies are bad, but you like them? Okay? I'm very curious to know because we all have different tastes, and we can even say things like, oh, Batman and Robin is a terrible movie, and I will actually disagree with that. I think Batman and Robin is a very good movie, but that in and of itself is controversial. But whatever. If you want me to make a video on Batman and Robin, though, I can do that. Yeah, so there we go. That's my list of so bad it's good guilty pleasure horror movies. If you enjoyed this video, you agree with it to any extent, whatever it might be, you can leave a like. You can let me know in the comments what you think. Like I said, I want to know what your list is. What are some movies for you that it's objectively these are total pieces of trash, but I really like them? Whatever it might be. If you want to see more content like this, you can subscribe. Stay tuned for other stuff. But other than all of that, hope you enjoyed. Hope they'll see you all later. They want to experience your flesh.